Welcome everyone. Let's begin our lesson for today by going over the learning goals and success criteria. First, what are we learning? We're learning how to solve multi-step inequalities for a given variable. How are we learning it? Through the Multi-Step Inequalities Part I notes and the Multi-Step Inequalities Part I assignment. When can we use this? To determine which scores you can receive on your final exam that will allow you to pass the course. How do you know you learned it? By getting a score of 4 on the Multi-Step Inequalities Part I assignment. Now let's take a look at our agenda for today. We will begin by going over the learning goals and success criteria. While we do that, you'll fill out your Get It Started. Once you've completed your Get It Started, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. After that, we'll go over the Multi-Step Inequalities Part I notes, and then I'll give you time to complete the Multi-Step Inequalities Part I assignment. Once you've completed the assignment, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. At the end of class, we'll go back over our learning goals and success criteria while you fill out your Before You Go. Your only homework for tonight is to continue working on the Linear Inequality Study Guide and any incomplete assignments that you may have. Let's take a look now at the Multi-Step Inequalities Part I notes. The notes begin with the learning goals and success criteria. Now, what is an inequality? An inequality can be of any of these forms. This symbol, this one here. So this one looks like an arrow going this direction, an arrow going this direction. And then we have the arrows with the little bars underneath. And what do these mean? Well, this first symbol means less than. So we have this symbol meaning less than. This one then means greater than. This one means less than again, right? Because that's this arrow. And the bar means or equal to. So this is less than or equal to. And this one, this arrow here, meant greater than. And the bar means or equal to, so it's greater than or equal to. So those are the different inequalities. Now how can we remember the signs? The easiest way I remember the signs is Pac-Man. So we have Pac-Man here. And Pac-Man's rule is Pac-Man always eats the bigger number. So if you notice, Pac-Man's mouth forms that arrow shape that we just talked about. So it forms the symbol. So if Pac-Man is always eating the bigger number, then we can recognize the way that we can state the symbols. For instance, we have 3 and then this symbol and 4. Well, Pac-Man eats the bigger number, so if I draw Pac-Man on there, I can see that his mouth is eating this side here, which means this is the bigger number. So this number is greater. Well, we always read it from left to right though. So that means if this number is greater, this number's got to be smaller. So we would say 3 is less than 4. Now here we have 6 on this side, 2 on this side. And if we draw Pac-Man in, there's Pac-Man. Pac-Man, again, always eats the bigger number. So we have 6 being bigger. And we read it from left to right, so we say 6 is bigger than 2 or 6 is greater than 2. So that's one way we can remember the signs. Now, how do we solve multi-step inequalities? Well, first thing we do is we solve it the same way we would if it was an equal sign. So if this was 4x minus 2 is equal to 10, we would just move everything away from the x. We're going to do the same thing here. So we'll start by adding 2 to both sides. And we get 4x is less than 10 plus 2 is 12. Then we get rid of this 4. The 4 is multiplying by x. So we're going to undo that by dividing. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, which is just 1x, which is what we want. So just x. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we get x is less than 3. So all we did was keep the symbol and treat it like an equal sign. Now what about this one? We got negative 4x minus 2 is less than 10. So we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to treat it like an equal sign and add 2 to both sides. And we're left with negative 4x is less than 10 plus 2 is 12. Now here's the only rule that we need to know when we're dealing with this. So we treat it like an equal sign. However, if we ever divide both sides or multiply both sides by a negative number, we need to flip the sign to go the other direction. So in this case, we're going to divide both sides by negative 4 here. So when we do that, we need to take this sign and flip it and go the other way. So we flip the sign, and we get negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1, and 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. So we get x, and now we flip the sign, so it says greater than now, negative 3. So anytime we multiply or divide both sides by a negative number, we're always going to flip the sign. There's a video here that shows you how to check multi-step inequalities using Symbolab. So you can watch this video to see how to check your work. Let's take a look now at how we can use Symbolab to check our work when dealing with multi-step inequalities. So we go to symbolab.com and we're going to enter our problem. So we're just going to enter in here. Let's say we got 3x minus 4 is less than 6. And we're going to go ahead and click go. And it shows us what our answer is. The answer is x is less than 10/3. And it shows us step by step how to get there. So we can enter any inequality in here and click go, and it will give us what the solution to the inequality should be. So we can go ahead and change these numbers as we want. Let's take a look now at the Multi-Step Inequalities Part I assignment. The assignment begins with the learning goals and success criteria. If we scroll down, we can see the questions. So the first one says negative 4x plus 14 is less than or equal to 54. So we're going to get x by itself. So we're going to subtract 14 from both sides to get rid of this 14. And we're left with negative 4x is equal to 54 minus 14 is 40. Then we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. So we get x by itself, and 40 divided by negative 4 is negative 10. Now notice we did divide by a negative, so we're going to flip the sign. So it should be greater than or equal to. So x is greater than or equal to negative 10, which is this one here. So we'll continue to answer all these questions until we get to the end. Once we get to the end, we'll click next. This will take you to your before you go. Go ahead and fill out your before you go and then submit your work on Google Classroom.